All right. Who here has seen a little-known indie masterpiece known as Fight Club? Hot tip to any girls that are trying to like be more popular with the boys, okay? All you have to do is say Fight Club is an underrated masterpiece and they will be like fighting over you, okay? Uh it's the problem with Fight Club, okay, is that it is, and I mean this sincerely, an extremely good movie taken from really good source material that's interpreted very poorly, which has led to it having a disproportionately insufferable fan base, okay? And I say that as a person who interpreted it poorly to begin with. I remember, and we're going to spoil Fight Club, so if you haven't seen it, it's been like 25 years, okay? I'm sorry. But, like, when I was young, when I was, like, in high school and I saw Fight Club, I was like, dude, Tyler's so badass. I think a lot of people were like that when they were young, especially. Because the whole point, essentially, is that Tyler is a cult leader who appeals to people who feel that their masculinity has been subverted by elements of modern culture, whether that be feminism or like corporate consumerism or alienation from the workplace. It's kind of syncretic. It pulls from a lot of directions, which I think is one of the reasons why Fight Club was really popular with like left-leaning 15-year-old boys and right-leaning 15-year-old boys. You know what I mean? Because when you're kind of progressive left-leaning, you can look at Fight Club and go like, yeah, consumer culture's fucking us up, man. And then when you're right-leaning, you can go like, yeah, feminism's fucking us up, man. And you like meet in the middle, basically, on that. And of course, the fact that Tyler is a cult leader who inflicts on his followers the exact same kind of alienation and humiliation that they experienced beforehand, just through a thin veneer of like masculine interest, is sort of lost on you when you're young. I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right? The central premise of the movie is ridiculous. Like, fighting allows you to reclaim your masculinity. Have you ever fought? Honest question. Have you guys ever done a real fight? A real fight. I mean, like an actual. I've only been in like two because I box, but that's not a real fight. I mean, you're wearing pillows on your hands. Fighting sucks. It's not cool. It's not glorious. It's just not, okay? It's really, really not. The vast majority of fights, unless people are either lucky or very well trained, is either they end instantly because, as it turns out, it really hurts to get punched in the face. Sometimes it's not even about the hurt. Sometimes you just physiologically shut down. And other times, and I think this is the most common outcome, it just turns into this weird rolling around scuffle where people are like frantically trying to mash the other's face with their forearms, like at a very close distance, you know? Like, that's like, and then like invariably for most fights, either somebody has a brain injury and dies, or you both walk up, you get up and like everything hurts and you look stupid. You look stupid. You look very, very stupid during and after a fight, okay? There's a reason why we invented swords. Swords make fighting cool. Now you can do, you know, I've seen the movies, you can do flippy tricks, sure. But fighting like regular fighting, okay, just, okay? The premise of Fight Club, like you're going to reclaim your masculinity by fighting, like no, what you're going to do is you're going to wake up the next day, go into your office job with visible bruises and the crippling pain running down your spine. And all the work you already had to do will now be that much more unpleasant because you don't even get to benefit from the default level of comfort a person who was not in a fight last night gets to enjoy. So yeah, no, just, but it's so appealing, right? I'm going on a tangent. The point I'm getting at, actually, this isn't even the point I'm getting at. This is like a point in a different room that I haven't been walking towards, but I'm turning now towards that room and walking towards it, is that recently, no, oh, actually, I don't know how recent this is. Okay, so Tencent Video has Fight Club on it. Tencent Video, it's like a Chinese video playing service. They have Fight Club on it. And they changed the ending of Fight Club, which is really interesting to me. So for those of you who don't know, again, spoilers, okay? At the end of Fight Club, and I think this is particular to the movie. I think the project fails in the book, but in the movie, Operation Mayhem bombs a bunch of bank buildings, and wipes a bunch of credit records. I actually have no idea if bombing a bunch of office buildings would actually have any effect whatsoever on credit records. Maybe back 25 years ago, less was digitized, but I feel like nowadays that's probably all on servers everywhere around the world, right? Maybe back then it was on paper more. I can't really say. But the idea was, clean slate, wipe away the debt. Like, all right, based, praxis, go for it. But, okay, this Tencent streaming service, okay, Chinese government stuff, very much to the whims of the glorious Xi Jinping. Thank you. Bring us peace, bring us glory. Ending change. So out of nowhere, okay, with I think essentially no prelude, rather than Project Mayhem succeeding, we get a fade to black, I think over the Pixies song. When your feet on the air, wait, was it? With the feet in your air and your head on the ground. It's a good song. We get this. Through the clue provided by Tyler, the police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested all criminals, successfully preventing the bomb from exploding. After the trial, Tyler was sent to the lunatic asylum receiving psychological treatment. He was discharged from the hospital in 2012. Thank you, glorious Chinese Communist Party and Xi Jinping, for saving us from the corrosive forces of a story in which the bad guys kind of win. Bad guys and win both being with question marks, because it's kind of difficult to morally work everything out there. There's a law. They can't show the bad guys winning, I don't think. In China. They can't show that, I don't think. Because that's like a very common authoritarian thing. Like, the police always have to win. Now, nothing in Fight Club like meaningfully leads to the idea of the police winning. In fact, I'm pretty sure the police are also in Project Mayhem. At least a lot of them are. So in terms of the canon of the book, I'm pretty sure the police figuring out the plot would be, yeah. At one point, Jack calls the police and he's like, "Hey, dude, there's a bomb. And the police are like, Don't worry, Mr. Durden. We know." They knew, which is, it's a good movie. Okay, but yeah, we know, sir. Yeah, it's a very good movie. Anyway, it's incredibly funny. I guess this means that you also don't get to see the big fat cock that he splices at the end of the film when the buildings are falling down. Remember? They had the cock? I remember the cock. It was a nice cock. The what? There's a cock in the movie. I'm not being euphemistic. There's a penis at the end. Show them the cock. I'm not going to show them the cock. I'm not going to. Anyway, this is from actually today. Chuck Palahniuk, the writer of Fight Club, because it was a book initially, said he found the changed ending as super wonderful. The irony is that they've aligned the ending almost exactly with the ending of the book, as opposed to Fincher's ending, which was the more spectacular visual ending. So in a way, the Chinese brought the movie back to the book a little bit, which is really funny. At the end of the movie, the plan goes off, but at the end of the book, the explosives fail, possibly because he wanted them to, and he's in a mental asylum because he actually has been arrested, but it's implied that all of the attendants at the mental asylum are in line with Project Mayhem. So in a weird metatextual way, this almost feels like the propaganda statement that you would get in the book after Jack was arrested in the book and sent to the asylum full of Project Mayhem orderlies. Yeah, task failed successfully. So if you were to treat this edited ending as a kind of metatextual commentary on the original piece, then I think it's brilliant, okay? The issue, of course, is that this is the propaganda, arm of the Chinese government, and it's what, like 1.5 billion people are going to be in contact with, which is a bit unfortunate. You know, obviously this is naked authoritarianism, the veneration of the state, villainy cannot win, so on and so on. Fascists are not a big fan of stories in which wily, evil villains prevail over institutions. Just for some reason, they're not a big fan of that, Um, the funny thing is that actually, historically, if you look at the way in which fascism tends to co-opt art for the purposes of reifying state power, it feels like it's almost like a dialectical response to a kind of Jewish archetype in history. Because a really, really, really popular Jewish archetype in their history, in their mythology, is the idea of like the good-hearted trickster, like an incredibly intelligent, wily person who is constantly oppressed by the law, but manages to overcome the actions of his oppressors, to outsmart them, to outwit them constantly, by way of being smarter, essentially, that the Jewish archetype really is being the roadrunner in the Wile E. Coyote bits, okay? That put a kippa on that roadrunner, okay? Because that's the whole thing distilled. And then there's a direct opposition, I think, to the classical, fascist archetype of the power wins, the state wins, the government wins, the good people get punished because they have to, because the alternative would be to imply that the bad people get punished, the good people succeed, because the alternative would be to imply that those who have power don't deserve it. And you get what you get. Yes, Bugs Bunny is Antifa. It is known, it is true, it is fantastic. Just go watch Fight Club. If you haven't watched Fight Club, it's very, very good. It's very, very good. Very, 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 very good stuff. By the way, we did have like a Western version of this, the Hays Code, which, not to be preferential here, we actually had our own 1984 bullshit for a good long time, up until 1968, so told. 1968. Absolutely wild. But yeah, here you go. Look. The resolution passed. Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America codified lists of don'ts and be carefuls with what they colloquially called their Magna Carta. Key points of the code, etc., etc. But look, here's some things. Okay, it's written by some very culturally conservative types, I'd say. Those things which are included in the following list shall not appear in pictures produced by members of this association, irrespective of the manner in which they are treated. Pointed profanity, which includes the words God, Lord, Jesus Christ, hell, son of a bitch, damn, God, and every other profane and vulgar expression, however it may be spelled, any licentious or suggestive nudity, the illegal traffic in drugs, any inference of sex perversion, they meant homosexuality. White slavery, just white slavery. Miscegenation, race mixing. Sex hygiene and venereal diseases. Scenes of actual childbirth in fact or in silhouette. Children's sex organs. Okay. Ridicule of the clergy. But clergy love children's sex organs. They're going to put that next to each other? Willful offense to any nation, race, or creed. They did not follow that rule. Jesus. Be it further resolved, be cautious about these things, and then it's like, be cautious about everything that could ever exist. Sex hygiene is a reference to AIDS, by the way. Yes, well, this was proposed in 1927 before AIDS, but, this gets moved on forward. The conservatism of published media in America and its enforcement through sometimes law, sometimes just internal agreement, is something that actually affected stuff probably relevant up to your guys' childhoods. Have you ever wondered why villains tend to be a lot more flamboyant than heroes? Like the old Disney animated movies, for example. Yeah, gay coded, gay. Scar is the easiest example. Simba's a fine character, but everyone remembers Scar, like that's what everyone remembers. Ursula from The Little Mermaid, Hades from from Hercules. It's not just gay coded either. It's that there were characteristics that could be more readily associated with villains, because it was. But essentially, they didn't want the heroes to look like queers, and they thought that if you're going to have any characters who are faffy, it should be the bad ones, you know. So Hades acts like a gay best friend to Meg. Ursula is literally based on a drag queen. Scar is objectively gay. Yeah, I mean, you get stuff like that. So we've done this. How much of this is still passed? It's in terms of like law preventing this stuff from happening, there is a categorical distinction, okay? And it's that this kind of censorship here in America has been half accepted code and half like actual broadcasting requirements. It's kind of watered away down now. I don't think these things are that explicitly present these days. Whereas today in the Chinese government, if you publish any movie which dares to insult His Majesty Xi Jinping, they'll just shoot you in the back of the head. So there is a difference in terms of severity, type, application, and punishment that should be taken into account. But hey, America didn't build, Auschwitz and its borders, but the Nazis did take inspiration from America when devising their systems of control and oppression. So, I'm just saying, I'm just saying, America is where social conservatives get to test their plans before doing worse versions of it elsewhere, or worse versions of it domestically. We can do that too. The awful like state of like Protestant evangelicism in Africa, all of the like murder of gay people and stuff, a lot of those pastors came from the United States. Or the crazy state of the Catholic Church in Africa, a lot of them are people brought over from like Poland or like hyper conservative European Catholic branches who are brought down there, who preach more radical versions of homophobia or like misogyny than they can get away with domestically. Or Belgium, yeah, as well. We have we do a little wacky stuff, over here. We do a little wacky stuff over there. We do a little wacky stuff everywhere. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about.